Imagine you have to find a needle in a haystack and do it in milliseconds, thousands, if not millions of times every day. Elastic is a search engine that makes this possible with digital information. If you need to find some exact piece of data from a pile of complex information, this supercharged search engine is the tool you've been looking for. It's like my wife when I'm looking for my keys, but she knows where everything is. Deep in the machine, data usually becomes the biggest haystack you've ever seen. Massive, messy, and finding some specific piece of information. Well, let's say if you ask someone to do that, you might be accused of breaking the Geneva Convention. Traditional search engines will scan through data. Think of organizing the whole haystack in a single line, like standing patiently at some government office waiting for your turn. And it will look at each strand of hay one at a time until it finds your needle. Unless you have a query designed by aliens, a database server will also do the same thing. You want millisecond performance, but the amount of work you need to do to get there is sometimes astronomical, if that's even possible. Elasticsearch uses a different approach through a process called indexing. No, not that kind of indexing. Indexing looks at every piece of data when it comes in and classifies that data by all possible attributes: size, color, length, type, before you start looking for your needle. The heavy lifting is done when the data goes in. When you ask for a specific strand, your needle, Elasticsearch will know exactly how to find it simply because you're describing the dimensions of your needle, the attributes. This system is powered by a technology called Attribution. It structures data in a way that makes searches incredibly fast and efficient. It lists every piece of hay that matches your needle's description and sorts it by the match score. If you think that's something, what if you don't have just one haystack, but fields of them? And you're building systems that not only have to find one needle, but hundreds of them hidden away in random haystacks by some sadistic individual. Or the machine itself may not know any better. But that's okay, because Elasticsearch can also be distributed, meaning it can search multiple servers concurrently and show you all your needles. This is a game changer for businesses with vast amounts of data spread across several locations. For example, my wife could not only find my keys, but also telepathically interact with all the other wives out there to find any set of key possible anywhere on the planet. I might be worried if my wife finds the neighbor's keys in my house, but that's beside the point. Decades ago, someone invented the SQL server. You would give it a query without saying how it would execute that query. That technology is smart enough to figure out how, so long as you provide what. Elasticsearch isn't a transactional system where your credit card transactions would be stored, although someone is probably thinking about it right now. Elasticsearch is an essential tool for business and developers. We need to access information quickly and easily from piles of data, especially if you want to avoid explaining to the machine the best way to find that information. It will figure out how. We live in a data-driven world, and mountains of data are growing constantly. Shouldn't we be able to find it without feeling like we're in some medieval torture device? Check out Elasticsearch. I left a link in a pinned comment. If you've used Elasticsearch before, I'd love to know how it's going for you. The good, the bad, the ugly.